In 1968, Mattel was busy putting together the first ever batch of Hot Wheels cars, an ambitious new project that would revolutionize the die-cast car industry. They were putting together a group of 16 iconic cars that would etch themselves into the history books, and become known as the Sweet 16. One of the first castings they created in this group was based on a one-off concept car built by Harry Bradley. It was called the Dodge Deora. The Dodge Deora was built as a bit of a Frankenstein's monster combination of a Dodge D100 and a Ford Fairlane. When you get down to it, it's basically the two cars sawed in half and then stitched together into a strange, futuristic-looking pickup truck. It's like James May's limo from Top Gear. When creating the original lineup of Hot Wheels cars, Mattel wanted them to be wild and unique compared to the offerings of competitors, such as Matchbox's metal lumps. So when they laid eyes on the Deora for the first time, they knew it would be perfect for their new lineup. Gotta be honest, the Deora's body proportions feel kinda strange. I guess I'm just so used to the Deora 2's taller and more bulbous look, but something about this thing just doesn't feel right to me anymore. I'm normally not one to body shame, but it's just so flat. It also bothers me that this car doesn't really have discernible taillights. Hot Wheels in their early days weren't really fans of putting lights on both ends of their cars, apparently. The twin mill only had lights in the rear, the Deora only had lights in the front. Nighttime's a bitch. It feels kind of weird to say, too, but despite it feeling kind of small, this thing at least still actually feels like a truck. The Deora 2 is so sporty looking, I often forget it's technically supposed to be a pickup truck. But with this, it's a lot more understandable what it is, and it's honestly the only one in the Deora line that actually feels like what it's supposed to be, a pickup truck. But the key component of this car's character comes at the back, where the two iconic surfboards sit. And fun fact, they can also detach and or break. The surfboards are an iconic part of the car and help give it that Southern California vibe and aesthetic. Just one problem though, I f***ing hate them. Even as a kid I hated them. They're just so flimsy and would constantly flop around whenever I was playing with it, which triggers my OCD in ways I cannot even begin to describe. Just line up, goddammit. This car is actually a bit different from its original counterpart. The Deora was originally released through 1968 to 1970, and then ceased production for 24 years. In 1994, it was brought back, but was slightly retooled. This Deora I have here is a 2001 Treasure Hunts model, and up until recently, was the only Deora I've ever had in my collection. That was until I got this original 1968 Deora that looks like it was found at the bottom of a river. Look, I got it at a local hobby shop for $25, and who gives a shit, the economy's in shambles anyway. But with this rotting carcass of what once used to be a usable Hot Wheels car, we could take a look at the very slight differences between the 1968 original castings and the 1994 retool. To start, this one isn't covered in feces. They're exactly the same. This is where I ran into another small problem. That problem being, I'm an idiot. The Forbidden Deora is a USA base, which is what the 1994 retool used. The differences actually lie with the Hong Kong base versions of the car. Look, reading is hard. So I got this Deora, which is a Hong Kong base from 1968, and $30 more later, this is why the IRS is after me. The most notable difference is the bases were altered slightly, with the headlights and front bumper on the US version being a bit more detailed, as well as the front grille not actually being part of the body. It's like if your nose suddenly became part of your jaw. Anyways, overall, I personally find the original Deora to be a bit underwhelming. It's not a bad car, but with the Deora 2 existing, I have less of a reason to care about the original. It's just a really unremarkable car. And despite how iconic this car is in Hot Wheels history, I feel like you rarely see it anymore. Hell, they even stopped making it in 2021. I feel like even Mattel decided, yeah, we don't need this. But despite me not caring that much for it, the original Deora is still an iconic car and is arguably the most important car in the Hot Wheels brand's history. Maybe even more so than the twin mill. Though I may find it a bit boring in retrospect, I still respect what it did for Hot Wheels as a brand, and can appreciate its lasting legacy. So with all that in consideration, I'm giving the Deora a 7 out of 10. It's a fine car, but one that would only improve later down the line.